Welcome to Radio Antioch. This video is an outreach of Antioch Tabernacle Ministries. The next lesson from the desert is that the provision of the Lord, each had enough, none too much. You know, I wonder if some of those who gathered too much, I wonder if they wanted to sell it to others so they didn't have to go out into the desert. Yeah, I wonder if this was like the beginning of microwave manna. Okay? You know, we got your frozen manna tacos here, and we're gonna, you put it in your freezer, and you could buy this, and you don't have to go out in the sun. Just give us a few shekels here, and I'll sell you some manna burgers, and you don't have to go out in the sun. You don't have to go out in the desert. Don't have to work. You could sit at home. And the Lord just they didn't have more than they needed to eat. Even those who probably, because you got to figure one of those people had a plot and a plan to get rich, okay? You got to figure. Well, that didn't work either. Okay, because here's the point. The Lord was showing these people that they had to depend upon Him daily for nourishment. You see, the Lord had said, no one is to keep any of it till morning. Some of them paid no attention, and they kept part of it till morning. But it was full of maggots and began to smell. And so Moses was angry with them. He's like, whoa, what are you guys doing? You have stunk up the place. It says it began to smell. Now you think about it, you're trying to be cool. What's that smell, dear? I don't know. I wonder what it is. He's got this thing of manna, and it's like starting to crawl with worms, and it stinks really bad. And he's like, I don't know what that is. I wonder, must be an evil wind from that tent over there. Think about that. You see, everybody knew who had been disobedient. I bet that was interesting for about the first week. After a while, they're like, dude, will you please get it together? Don't you know it's going to go bad? Pretty soon they're starting to harass each other. It's like, you idiot, get rid of that stuff. We got to go get it every morning. It probably took about a week, okay, for the people to really come to understand this. Because you could bet if it stinks and it goes bad and everything that, if you're not listening, surely your wife will, okay? Like, what are you doing? That stinks. Get that out of the tent. You're going to hear about it. Or your neighbor, okay? They're going to give you an earful. But the lesson that we need, lesson number 5, is that each person had to learn to depend upon the Lord daily for nourishment. You know what? That's still true today. Part of the reason why each person had to gather is because what the Lord, I believe, was showing them is that you have to come meet with me once a day if you want to be nourished. If you don't come to me every day for a little while, you're not going to have everything you need. And you can't let somebody else gather it for you. One of the biggest lies in history is the idea of clergy and laity. The whole idea that the man of God is supposed to hear God for you, okay, and that you're just supposed to receive from God, you're supposed to receive from the priest or the preacher. That's a lie from the pit of hell. The Lord has always used people like a Moses. He's always used the prophets and the apostles to speak to the people. But mostly that happens when the people are going astray. If you look in the garden, God walked in the cool of the day to talk with man. He wanted to talk to him day by day. The apostles and the prophets would have a whole lot less to do if the people would listen. Think about that. Because usually most of the Old Testament prophets were talking to the people who were going astray. And half the stuff that Paul wrote about, he was correcting people's stinking thinking. You see, if people were listening to God, there'd be a whole lot less work to do. But there's this whole mentality, and some denominations have it more than others. There's this whole mentality that, the holy man is supposed to hear God for you. And then he's going to tell you what God says. Well, okay, fine. There is room for the prophetic people, the prophets, to hear and to speak. There's room for a minister of God to preach. But if you're not going out and getting fresh manna from God every day, you're undernourished. How many of you take vitamin pills? Okay? But if you just take a vitamin pill and you don't eat any green stuff, any vegetables, how healthy are you? If all you eat is cheeseburgers and vitamins, how healthy are you going to be? Okay, right. Well, that's the point. The vitamin pill might make sure that you get a little bit of the right chemicals and minerals and things, but it's not enough. Okay, so I could sit here and preach to you, and you could go hear your pastor on your Sunday morning church, and you could get fed, you could get your vitamin pills, but you're missing something if you're not getting direct manna from God at least once a day. Now, how do you get that? Well, you can read in the Word. There you go. Get a little extra bass there. You can also have that time in prayer. You can also have that time in worship. You know, I was so thankful tonight just for the time of worship. I just love to get together with friends and have a time of worship and just spend a whole evening with God. Isn't that great? You know? If you're not getting your manna fresh, then it's probably not very nourishing. What happens after it was a day old? It started to smell bad. You know, if all you've got to feed you spiritually is what somebody taught you a year ago, how fresh is your manna? It's not. It might have bugs in it. Okay? This is something that you have to cultivate for yourself. You have to decide, even if it's 10 minutes a day, to get fresh manna in your life. 10 minutes in the Word, 10 minutes in prayer. Some of you are much more mature than that. I spend pretty much my whole time after, like, one of my favorite things to do is when I drive to work every morning. I don't listen to the news unless something really nasty is going on. I sometimes will listen, but mostly I will spend half the drive there just listening to worship music and getting in the Spirit, and then about halfway there I will turn off and I'll just say, Lord, let's talk about it. How are things between you and I? How's my attitude? How's my heart? How am I messing up today? How can I help? What would you have me do? You know, and then sometimes at the evening, when I'm tired and I'm worn out, I'll just open the Bible and just read a chapter. So, you know, just when I'm too tired to really do anything else, and I just sit here and say, thank you, Lord, you were with me today. You know, and even if you have an incredibly busy life, you can make time for that manna time. Thank you for joining us today on Radio Antioch. You can visit us on the web at www.antiochtabernacle.org. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you. If Radio Antioch has been an encouragement to you, you can help support us by donating online on our website or by mailing to P.O. Box 741, Antioch, Illinois 60002. Donations are tax deductible in the United States. Thanks again, and may the Lord richly bless you.